My name is Tyler David, and you're watching Field of Dreams on ACTN.
Hey everybody, welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, I'm your host. As you know, we are around the Christmas season. I want to wish viewers a happy holiday and hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. And also to my panel, I want to wish you guys a happy holiday. Let me introduce the panel so you know who I'm wishing a happy holiday. Right next to me is my good old buddy, Alvin Henderson. Welcome to set, Alvin.
Pleasure to be here, and I too would like to extend greetings to all. Merry Christmas and all the best for the new year.
As you know, viewers, we don't get paid to do this, but we still have to ask for time off. And Alvin has been off for a little while. Alvin, you want to tell the viewers where you've been?
You want me to reveal some deep secrets here, but no, I was actually visiting family and friends abroad. In fact, I reconnected with some of my old teammates, Lincoln Phillip and Victor Gamaldo and Winfield St. Hill and Trevor Mitchell and some of the others. So it was a great time for Thanksgiving, the American Christmas, I call it. And my brother and his family, who I haven't had enough chance to see over the years.
Great, great. And next to Alvin is Larry Joseph, and he has been out as well. Welcome to the set, Larry, and tell the viewers where you've been.
Thanks, Steve, and well, same sentiments extended to all our hosts, co-hosts. I had some engagements also out in the States and was also catching up with some old friends like the Doc. Yeah. Had a wonderful American Christmas, Thanksgiving also like the Doc. Yeah. Eat a lot of turkey. Yeah. So.
And next to Larry is Jefferson George, who also was out. I don't know where you've been, but you were out as well. Welcome to the set.
Steve, I've been here all the time.
Winning trophies.
I'd like to say pleasant good night to Veronica Grant, Princeton. She, full disclosure, she is my aunt, but she watches the program every week. All right, so Auntie Dolly, pleasant night, and also welcome back the guests who have been with us. Only person who actually stayed in Trinidad, Steve and myself.
That's right.
You were winning trophies of praise, so that's fine.
Today I want us to talk about our new regime, Ttfa, moving forward. As you know, we have a new Ttfa on board, the new Ttfa. So let's talk about, I don't want to go too far back into, let's not even touch the old regime and just let's concentrate on the new set of guys, how we fail, how are they doing so far, and so on and so on. So, I don't know, Alvin, you want to give us a platform so we can move forward?
Well, I would first like to, because this is my first time in public, to be able to say congratulations to all the winners. And it's not going to be an easy time because of the margin of victory in some of the cases. There is still, and we can see it already, there's still a large group out there who are ready to criticize at a moment's notice, and they have to be wary of that. Wallace and his team, and Taylor and and Ms. Warwick and the others, and Keith Lucloy especially, will have to be on guard because the criticisms are going to come thick and fast. Everybody is going to look at every decision that they make, and especially if the changes are major. And they've been brave enough to make some major changes in the first couple of weeks that they've been there. They've not extended the time that Dennis Lawrence is going to have with the senior national team, nor have they extended the time that Mr. Ttfa is going to have with the women's national team. And they've already had some names appointed for the women's coaches. I don't know if all have accepted quite so far. And we eagerly await the name of the senior national coach. And there are going to be pros and cons about that coach as well. Even we're going to put in my criticism at some point afterwards.
Larry, I'll give you a chance to just get general on how you feel.
Well, first of all, I must say that this panel picked the winner of the elections prior to the election date.
We did.
So we saw that coming. But now, the fact that they have won, that United team has won the election, it's down to serious work now. Because the state of the local football is so bad, there is no honeymoon period for this regime. And we already see that they hit the ground running. They had some long meetings and made some major decisions, which they had to in a very short period of time, simply because the local game does not give them the luxury of time. All right? As the doc says, because they campaigned on a message of lack of transparency from the last regime, that now is going to come back and confront them with every decision that they make or do not make. Right? But so far, it appears as if they seem to be liaising with the media as soon as decisions are made. So it looks as if they are mindful of the whole communication gap that was something that a lot of people had a problem with the John Williams regime, right? So we are waiting to see some of the decisions that have already been taken in terms of what is to be done immediately. As the doc says, Dennis Lawrence's tenure has been ended. That is no surprise to anyone, right? So we are waiting to see the replacement. Fortunately for us, I think in terms of the senior team, we seem to have an outside chance of qualifying for the Gold Cup. So that's a good thing. At one time, it looked as if we wouldn't have a chance at all. So the new coach coming in will have an immediate target for him and the senior team. The other lesser coaching areas, we understand that the women's coach has been relieved. All right. So I am, like everybody else, anxiously awaiting to see some of the new faces that will be appointed. Obviously, because finances was a major issue in the election leading up. I'm anxiously waiting to see where the new regime is going to find the resources financially to implement some of the changes that they have already mentioned that are going to be happening.
Jefferson, let me give you a chance to wet your lips into this conversation.
Well, again, I think congratulations would be in order for the new administration. And as was already mentioned, it is going to be a huge task that they have to undertake to get Trinidad and Tobago's football, as it were, back on track. I do still believe that there is definitely the capability in there. One thing you mentioned, there's a new general secretary as well, somebody new to the role in Ramesh Randan. But I think it's going to be a huge task. They campaign on being more transparent, and also Mr. Wallace being a person who is going to look and seek out those who have competencies in different areas and place them accordingly. Yes, we look forward for all the new appointments that are going to come. Thus far, no real surprises really with Dennis Lawrence. His contract termination, and which was unanimous by the board, by the way. And we look forward. It's an exciting time for those involved in football. But as Mr. Wallace mentioned in his press conference as well, one of the major objectives would be to get the public back on board with Trinidad and Tobago football. So, I mean, how they go about doing that, and that would be interesting to see.
Okay, let's talk about what they've done so far. And while doing that, I would like, because we set the tone here, and I'd like us to compare and contrast some of there's the only time I want us to talk about the old regime is when we compare and contrast what they have now to what we had in the past. And otherwise, we don't even need to talk about the old thing. Just move forward. So let's talk about some of the things they've done so far. What are we excited about? Let's talk about the head coach first.
Well, I think
start with that.
I think everybody will be excited to have the name of a new coach on board and a new coach around. Is it going to be, first of all, is it going to be local? Or is it going to be foreign? More than likely, it's going to be local because of the financial situation that we're in. And some names that have been bandied about have offered themselves for the job before. And we have to see who it is. I don't know. People keep asking me as if I have an inside word as to who the coach is going to be. And I can only tell you, I don't know.
Well, you normally do, eh? You normally would have an insight.
In the past, we interviewed people before the job was given. I don't know who has been interviewed on this occasion, what the mandate is on this occasion, but part of the mandate is going to be you better qualify for that Gold Cup, because the Gold Cup brings with it elevation of the status of our team immediately. It also brings some finance to the association that is sorely needed. So that winning that game, or that two-legged game against the winner of Guyana and Barbados, who will play first, winning that tie for us, we're going to play either one of them, is going to be quite interesting, especially as one of our former coaches, Russell Latterby, is the head of the Barbados technical group there. So it's going to be interesting times for the head coach. Names have been bandied about. I wouldn't like to call any at this point in time. When I hear the name of the coach, I think we could go into a big discussion about it. One of the problems has been, and one of the things that the administration has done, but it can be a problem, is after every board meeting, they have had a press release stating exactly the decisions made by the board. Now, what can happen, as can happen with the relieving of the women's coach, you can go into the board meeting, decide to relieve the women's coach of their position. You can relieve and appoint other coaches. Mm-hmm. But soon as that meeting is finished, Trinidad and Tobago being what it is, that information is going to be out in the public. And it may be difficult sometimes, as I heard it was on this occasion, to contact the person who was in Mr. Ttfa abroad. And so by the time that information hits the public, he may not have been aware of it because they had difficulty in contacting him. And people are going to pick up on that and be the first to criticize the administration as a result. But one of the things I went back and looked, that was not one of the decisions that was put in the media release. And so it it came at a different time because the explanation was that they wanted to make sure that the coach was aware of the situation before he heard it from other sources.
Right.
And you know, we've been through that before in Trinidad and Tobago. I remember that Bertil St. Clair was about to coach a team in an important match, and he had not heard yet that he had been fired. So other members had to tell him that, Bertil, I heard on the radio that you had been fired. And Bertil said, I have a team to coach to win a game, and that's what he went ahead and he tried to do. And so these situations are often very difficult because in bringing in somebody, you may not have the adequate time before it hits the media, and especially the media that we have today. Things are out in seconds.
I almost wanted to say, is it a timely firing of Dennis Lawrence? But that's obvious, right? Go ahead.
I mean, it's no surprise that Dennis has been relieved of his duties with the senior team. That announcement is not going to turn any heads, really. That was expected once the regime had changed. In terms of, and that's a contrast with the last regime to this new regime. The former regime under John Williams held on to Dennis, quite firmly, as a matter of fact, in spite of the poor results that the senior team continued to churn out. Right? So we saw immediately on the appointment, one of the major decisions this new regime took was to relieve Dennis of the position of the head coach. Don't want to repeat too much of what the doc says, but one of the major changes from the two regimes, obviously, is in the dissemination of information to the public as quickly as possible. That was not forthcoming under the last regime. Matter of fact, the last regime was harshly criticized for lack of information to the public. And this regime, it appears, wants to make a full turn where that is concerned and give quick and timely information to the footballing public as quickly as it is made and decided at the board level, so that they could keep the public abreast of what's happening. Because as Mr. Wallace mentioned, prior to the elections and after the election, they want to get the public back involved into the sport. And one of the ways in doing that is to keep us abreast as to what's going on when you make decisions, whether we agree with them or not, but at least we know what they are, right? So the doc mentioned it, and they do have to be careful, right? Because you don't want quickly coming out of a room and then sitting in front of a microphone in front of the press and giving information where individuals are concerned that you have not yet contacted. So that's something I'm sure they will work on, or I hope they work on.
Let me take a break, and I'll let you come back when we get back. Viewers, we'll be right back after this short break.
We need a technical director as well. And the technical committee, I think Keith Lucloy, everybody kind of knew that Mr. Lucloy, who has functioned in that role as chairman before, would be back as chairman of the technical committee. And he has put up. We, from those encounters together, and this was a North-South game to open the season.
So the team might be playing well, as we always say with Trinidad and Tobago.
Futsal did that great for me.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David. I'm your host. Okay, welcome back, viewers. Larry, I wasn't sure if you was done or not, but...
well, I was winding up. So those are the two major contrasts that we saw with two regimes immediately in terms of the public space. And I'm sure we'll discuss some of the others as we go forward, but, I want to give the other panelists opportunity to give their responses.
I think what we would be judging the current administration on is basically that how they go about executing their duties. And as I said, one stark difference would be the dissemination of information. That is an obvious way to get buy-in from the public, right? And if you appear to be transparent in your dealings, right, you have an opportunity to take the public along with you. Of course, we'd have lost, as I said, a lot of the public trust based on not just the performance of the team, which is key, and that is senior team I'm talking about, but also the way business was conducted in a way that was seen many times to be, secretive and cloaked, right? A lot of decisions that never really was made public by administration themselves, but sometimes by journalists and so on. And it's not really the ideal way to, convey a transparent outlook on the way that you're conducting business. I think it's a fair trade-off in terms of people probably, as Doc mentioned, not getting time to be personally made aware because of your obligation to the wider public. And I know that there must be some way for them to have, somewhat of a better situation where the individual is concerned. But for me, I think the public who will be, the persons who you need to get behind you, I think the trade-off is fair.
Let me be critical about them. I think they took too long to fire Dennis Lawrence. Only because I felt Dennis should have stepped down. Any coach that lose so many games in such a short space of time would step down. Because obviously something is not working, and we all was rooting for Dennis to do well. Okay, it didn't happen for you. Step down. Don't wait for the administration to send you home. And I thought it was going to do that first thing the next day, but it didn't. So that's only...
No, I think for me, right, I think one thing I'm looking forward for as well is setting up a system that has us operating closer to what is international standard. Now, we criticize Dennis a lot, but very rarely we have had coaches in our local situation, whether it be club, country, coming out to resign when they don't get the results that we think that they should get. And I think that is something that, whether it be put in as part of the contracts going out for coaches, that level of accountability be set with the coach. And yes, there's a lot of blame thrown at the end to players and this one. But as a coach, if you hire to do a job and that job is not being done, now we're not talking about 2 or 3 games. We're talking about 3 years pass and you're getting an extension when your results clearly wasn't, anywhere near what would have been an acceptable level. I think that should be an indication where you should, say thank you and get out.
So let's talk about some other implementation. We want to go to technical committee?
Yes, a technical committee has been rapidly been put in place. Being a long-standing former member of the technical committee, I will tell you that's one of the most important departments in a football association, because so many decisions are made with the advice of the technical committee, and in both men and women, and then the juniors as well. And with the fact that we don't have a technical director in place working at the moment, a technical committee can function in place of a technical director until one is on board. You really need a technical director as well. And the technical committee, I think Keith Lucloy, everybody kind of knew that Mr. Lucloy, who has functioned in that role as chairman before, would be back as chairman of the technical committee. And he has put a a framework up that is out there in the public for viewing, a framework of how he would like this technical department to function. And it's an organizational chart that's fairly easy to follow, and it can be tweaked depending on the feedback that they get from people. The people who are there, who have been on the technical committee before, Janelle James, Janelle was there on the last technical group that I was on, and she was involved in women's football. She's a past national player. Mm-hmm. She has administrative experience as well, being a manager of some female teams. So she is a competent person and functions well on a technical committee. Mm-hmm. New to the technical committee, I think Michael Grayson, who I have a lot of respect for. I know Michael since he was a schoolboy, and he, has trained in the States as an excellent coach, still coaching at Trinity East, and has all the experience and knowledge and intellectual capability to function well on that team. Also, the others are Norris Ferguson, who has functioned in administration at all levels, at club level and South Zone level, where maybe Keith Lucloy and others might be seeing him as an administrative link that is needed on that technical committee, the administrative link with the managers and that they're going to have to supervise. And then last but not least, another administrative link with the managers would be Richard Piper, who is the present manager of the national team. I don't know if he'll still function in that role. Yeah. So a varied group, some with experience on technical committees, some it's new to them, but I'm sure they're going to get their feet wet fairly quickly, and we'll see how they function.
You miss Ken Eli.
Oh, Ken Eli. I forgot Ken.
Yeah.
Ken Eli, an excellent senior coach, coaching at Trinity Mocha, still coaching at Trinity Mocha. Excellent coach, very knowledgeable, well-versed in T and Ttfa matters because he's been there before as a junior national coach. The only thing that I worry about a little bit is that people who are still eligible for positions on national teams, in my opinion, should not be on a technical committee. Because oftentimes you may have to recuse yourself when you're interviewing people, or if you yourself are a candidate for the job, as on the last technical committee, Stuart Charles had to recuse himself after he was initially appointed. So if Ken Eli still has hopes of coaching junior or senior national teams, if he still has hopes, I think it would be better if he recused himself permanently from the technical committee.
Okay. Larry, you have any?
Well, the names of the people that have been appointed, I'm very familiar with all of them. In terms of what they bring to the table on a technical cap on, I think they can all contribute to that committee to help at least put certain things in place for this new regime and for the future of the local game as it is. I think it's a good mix of people who have lots of experience in the local game and some at international level. It's good to see Janelle in there. Janelle is a football person through and through. Beside her playing experience with the national team, playing abroad, she's had quite a lot of experience managing the local ladies team, and also responsible for bringing in a lot of foreign teams into the country and being a liaison for that. But her technical knowledge of the game is good enough as far as I'm concerned. I've worked with her doing camps in the States, so I know of her technical competence. So, I'm glad to see that she's in there. And she's also a very strong and forceful voice. She's not afraid to give her opinion. And her opinion is always well considered because it comes from a head of good knowledge and background. Kenny Lai, as the doc says, he's a football person through and through. You know, I'm satisfied with those people that are there presently. Of course, there could be a few other people that you could put, but like a team is only 11 could play. Yeah, you know. So let's give this new committee an opportunity to get their feet wet going forward and see what they could come up with. Their task is not going to be an easy one because they are going to be judged by the results of the national teams, because I am assuming they're going to be responsible for appointments across the board, not just the senior team. Right? So let's see how they go, you know, but I'm confident, quietly confident that they will do a good job.
Right. Jeff, I don't know if you have anything else to chip in on
With
this, or otherwise we can move
technical
forward.
committee, I think just one point which speaks to the balance of the committee is not just what you would see as a technical team, but there's also a lot of administrative expertise in there. Janelle herself, who was a manager, she also has a strong administrative background. Norris Ferguson, who is FIFA match commissioner as well. So you have that Richard Piper as well. So along with Mr. Eli and Keith himself, Mr. Grayson, you also have that that other sort of administrative side. So I think that may speak to some of the objectives that they want to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm looking at that list though, but I'm saying, and obviously I'm wrong. I'm looking at the whole technical committee playing days or the ability to play this game, to understand it. And that's not what we need in a technical committee, obviously, because I find it lacks some experience in actual play. But maybe in what they're supposed to do, they probably are very good at what they're supposed to do, evaluate and make recommendations and stuff. So,
yeah, no, a lot of past players, when you talk about technical, do tend to lean, as you are, Steve, towards people who would have played the sport,
right.
Especially they would have played at a higher level.
Right.
Because we believe they would have the necessary expertise to make technical decisions. But I don't think that is always the case. There are some people who never reached very high in terms of, if we look at some of the big coaches around the world, both for country and club, some of them didn't play at the highest level, but are able to coach successfully club teams and otherwise. So yes, I don't think a requirement to be a good technical person has to be having played at the highest level. Although former players like yourself, we kind of bias towards that type of personnel.
No, well, Larry, I kind of agree with Steve to some degree. You need to have people who in there who probably had experience in the professional ranks of a football player playing at international level. You don't need to have all, but at least one or two who know what it is to be in a professional environment, playing professional football, maybe at home or abroad, and playing at the highest level of the game. And a technical committee would be beneficial if we had some body in the group who is at that level. Michael Grayson perhaps is the person who may be the closest. He is an international player for Trinidad and Tobago, played abroad in the States at college level, and is a very experienced coach at the local level. But again, maybe somebody else at that level on the committee may have added a little spice to it.
That's what I think. All right, let's talk about some other not nominations, but some other
decisions. Well, one of the decisions I want to bring up was the fact that I was, not surprised, but happy to see that a decision has been made to have discussions with Sheldon Phillips so that the further court cases where he is concerned don't go ahead.
Right.
And we need, as a group, when I say we, I say the Trinidad and Tobago football in public. We need to be able to clear quickly from the books of the Ttfa all these court cases and all these monies that are being owed to a number of people, past coaches, past players. This needs to be cleared up. And cleared up, not that the money needs to be paid immediately, but there needs to be some form of discussion going on with these people so that we have a clear path as to how these monies are going to be paid and when and where when the time especially that they will have to be paid by. Because a number of the people who are owed money, I am sure, will come to a reasonable decision with the group.
All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, you guys are going to get a chance to weigh in. Viewers, we'll be right back. What grade?
It come like you give me my test paper. I had 2 hours to write it. After 10 minutes, I'm going to give it up.
And we have pop quiz, like Alvin said. So it's a pop quiz.
Would
you grade them or
it's
too early?
Pop quiz. The time is too short to grade them. All I can say is
We, from those encounters together, and this was a North-South game to open the season.
So the team might be playing well, as we always say with Trinidad and Tobago.
Futsal did that great for me.
Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to another edition of Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David. I'm your host. Okay, welcome back to you. Okay, guys. Like I said, we're talking in general now about all the. We can't go step by step because we run out of time. Of all the implementation they have done so far in that new regime. So, and Alvin just spoke about
Court cases.
settling
the court cases. And then we have a new secretary and all these kind of stuff. So let's discuss some of these guys, these people.
Well, obviously, I think the new regime wanted to quickly gain the confidence of the public by making decisions in terms of appointments and otherwise to reflect a fresh look, if I may say so, in terms of this regime going forward. Ramesh Ramdan is no stranger to the local scene. He was a well-renowned referee. Was he the first local to do a World Cup, Doc? Ramesh? Yeah, I think he was the first local to actually do a World Cup.
I thought a woman did that.
No, well, maybe after, but I think Ramesh has the title of being the first local to do a World Cup. As a matter of fact, I was a victim of one of his
red cards?
It wasn't a red, it was a yellow. He had just come back from the World Cup and we were playing in Center of Excellence against your public, and got into a little tackle with one of the opposing players, and Ramesh run up to me, and then he run up to me, well, I run up to he. You know, I asked him, well, if you feel as a foul, give me a card. I say, referee, you could give me a card. He say, I know, come back from the World Cup, you can't be talking to me. So that's why I remember he went to World Cup.
You're disrespectful.
So Ramesh, but we're really good friends. Ramesh is no stranger to the football scene whatsoever.
Compare him and David.
Well, chalk and cheese, because he has already made a statement. I didn't hear David make any statement since his appointment. As a matter of fact, what we heard from about David is that he didn't allow anybody to talk to the press unless it came through him or by him. So obviously we see that this new regime is deliberate in appraising the public as to what their plans are and disseminating information. And I think we will appreciate that. We don't have to agree with everything that they will say to us, but we would appreciate the fact that we come in from a regime that hid information from everything, as Jefferson said, seemed to be cloak and dagger and that kind of stuff. And then we were just expected to take it or leave it, my way or the highway. So, that's something that's refreshing, but it also will leave the new regime, and I assume that they're going to expect that, open for a lot of critique, which is good. We're in a democratic society, right? Every decision that you take, I should be allowed to look at it and critique it, and as the case may be. So I don't feel that they should be afraid of it, because that's part and parcel of the whole arrangement as it is,
Jefferson, before you speak, I just want to bring this in, and maybe you could expound on it. Right now, with Ramesh Ramdan coming in, with Clint Taylor being there already, we now have two people who were vying for the presidency on the previous election, who are, along with Wallace, trident. I like to call it not a Barbados trident, but a Trinidad trident of administrators who, if they're working together, can do great benefit for football in Trinidad.
Excellent point. And I think, for me, that is what I am excited about with this administration. There are not just people who are experts in the traditional areas that we would expect, but you have a team of people who are in their own rights leaders, being led by Mr. Wallace. And I think that in itself, it gives me some optimism. And I think it's reason for us to be optimistic that things, can begin to head in a direction that we can improve. Everyone is aware of the task that's ahead. And there are a lot of things that we are going to have to do that we didn't do before in order to get the public back on board and things like that. Based on the time that they've been in office, really and truly, we like to see things happen quickly. But some of those things are going to be, long-term goals that are going to have to be worked out, step by step. And in looking forward, one of the things I would like to see is the plan to really get that that senior team organized in a way where Trinidad can again be involved. The players, yes, we didn't have the results on the field, but looking back at the team, the whole senior football in Trinidad and Tobago, there was a really lack of motivation which carried through the players, and it's been a real tough time for all involved, and I hope that they can put things in place so that we can turn this around in the shortest time possible.
What made me being absolutely sure this group knows what they're doing? They kept Sean fronted. Sean is a PR guy, right?
He's a press guy, yeah.
I thought he'd been always doing an excellent job. And it would be sad to see him go, and they kept him.
I think one of the major decisions they also took, sorry, Jeff, is, I'm not remembering, is to shut down the Home of Football, which was opened a week before the election,
right?
With such pomp and ceremony. That's a major decision to take, because the information that came to us in the public is that the Home of Football was ready to be open, and so it was open. So it was open for business. And I think they actually shut it down before. That was the first major decision they took before the other ones.
For safety
so that was citing safety reasons. So, that was a bold step, coming so quickly on the heels of its opening.
Yeah, I think they went in not with the objective of purging old people out, because there were, you mentioned Sean Fuentes, and he has been there administration, doing an excellent job in terms of being that media person, that the connect between Trinidad and what's happening inside. And there wasn't any obvious objective of getting rid of old folks and getting new people in. So it was something that seemed to have some thought and was deliberated on. And again, we continue to look to see the direction that they will head in.
So let's talk about some of the things we should look forward to. What are some of the things that we think what maybe they haven't done it yet, but we think this is what they should do, or something we should look forward to?
Well, one of the first things, if I was in the position as Wallace and some of the executive are in, one of the first things I would like to do is improve the relationship between us, the new regime, and CONCACAF, and the new regime and FIFA. Because it was obvious to me, judging from what happened in the month leading up to the election and the week leading up to the election, that John Williams was a favored friend of the CONCACAF and FIFA people. And it was good of him to foster, to get that type of relationship going with FIFA, because we depend on those organizations so much in the sphere that we have our football in. So it's important for us to try and build those relationships as well, build them to the best of our ability, but at the same time, doing what is best for Trinidad and Tobago, and making sure that whatever is done with the interest of Trinidad and Tobago first.
Well, income is a major issue. So going forward, I would like to see the reopening of the home of football with all the necessary licenses and certificates under the HSE that is necessary to ensure that it is opened properly. I think it has a great part to play in the local game going forward, especially with this new regime. And then, of course, some of the promised financial aid from sponsorship, both locally and abroad, hopefully some of those would come to fruition because they would need a lot of finances to do all that they propose to do.
Yeah, good points, guys. I would just will go a little bit more in terms of the governance issues where the whole election thing is concerned. And I would like to see a strengthening of the zones, right, where they re-empower the zones to carry out football programs within their respective regions. With respect to elections, is something that I think would be much more transparent if we had to refer to more of a one club, one vote situation where the individual clubs themselves would be now encouraged to become compliant and things like that. And it will get the clubs, even in the far reaches of our country, closer to the process. I think that's one of the ways that we can, get buy-in from the country. National football is supposed to be national. And I think if we keep it small, it excludes a lot of people, and you don't have their involvement. People must believe that they are involved. That's our thing, national football. And I think that's one way to again, re-establish that connection with Trinidad.
As usual, I always like to put you guys on the spot, right? Right? And we have, and yes, I am saying this, David, we have a horrible professional league that's going on here now. Horrible. And do you think this new group, new Ttfa, should get together and coordinate and bring the Super League and the Pro League together and try to coordinate that in a more professional
Well,
manner?
that's already been decided. I don't think we're going to see the Pro League and the Super League in the present form much longer, because they've already decided that the commission is going to come back. The commission that was earlier functioning, I don't know if it will be the exact same people, but the commission will be back to get Tier 1 and Tier 2 functioning with the best teams in the country functioning at those levels, with a proper organization, a professional management team running the league. And now that we have a few more grounds available that are going to be of reasonable quality, the one in Digger Martin, I'm hoping that by Civic Center's ground will be up and running in the future. And we have enough grounds for the professional teams to be playing at. I think by the middle of next year, we should have a top Tier 1 and Tier 2 professional league in place.
Total agreement with you, Steve, in terms of the professional league in its present format is not serving the purpose that it's supposed to. As a matter of fact, it's wasting people's time, and so much so that people don't even waste their time to go and look at it. So that's a reflection of where it is. So I totally agree with you. And I'm glad that they are going to revert back to the commission and its mandate, because I think the idea and the format is a good one. If you have strong management team behind it, it can work. It's something that I believe would rejuvenate the local game, both in terms of the players and in terms of spectator interest. So I am hoping it comes to fruition.
Definitely, you need a new organization for the professional league or whatever you want to call it. But we need our top tier football reorganized, and I believe that's one of the objectives of this administration. We look forward to that.
What kind of grade would we give the new administration? I would not go back to the old. This is great. So I'm not going to put you on that seat. But this seat, what grade would you give them so far?
I think you're trying to grade them a little bit too early. I think I would. You giving them a pop quiz.
Well, on a pop quiz.
And a pop quiz, I give them a B. The pop quiz, because they've made some mistake. But we have to give them time to be able to evaluate them properly.
Larry?
Steve, the people on them now get elected, or you want to give them a grade already, Steve?
Listen to the question. That is why we fail exams. The question is, on so far on what they have done, what grade?
It come like you give me a test paper. I had 2 hours to write it, and after 10 minutes, I'm going to give it up.
And we have pop quiz, like Alvin said. So it's a pop quiz.
Would you grade them, or
it's too early?
The time is too short to grade them. All I can say is that I like the immediate response to being elected in terms of the dissemination of information quickly as soon as they are made to the footballing public. And that is a step up from the last regime.
And what grade would you give that?
I had 2 hours.
Jefferson, go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me.
Yeah, if you had to grade him, you'd feel it.
I would grade him.
I would tend to give them a B+. Right? They've gone in. And as I said, with the limited time, there isn't much to judge them based on, but what they said they would do. And so far, they seem to be following on the platform that they ran on, the things that they said it would be transparent. They would have a proper board structure, which they would adhere to. And so far, so good.
Yeah, so far I think they are living up to what we expected or they said they're going to do, kind of.
Yeah.
And I think they're bringing confidence back into football because I think people are optimistic now.
Yeah.
That something good is going to happen. And I think, so, always A's. If you're an A student, they have to be an A. They're an A student.
You mark my paper for me now.
All right. All right. Any closing remark? Just one of you guys, because we run out of time.
Well, since Larry is still at the exam desk, we'll give him the...
Yes, I'm hoping at the end of my exam, I get an A, because this regime would have walked the talk. Just like you, Steve, I'm very hopeful. They have started off pretty well. Let's see if time proves them right.
Okay, I also want to let the viewers be aware, after the show, the secondary schools all-star football game that you missed, some of you, is going to play right after the show, so you can take a look at it. It was very interesting, and we had a good time. And Also, be aware that not the home of football, Field of Dreams Sporting Complex in Clifton Hill Point, Fordham is also going to be opening sometime in January. Stay tuned, look on the Facebook page, and you will see exactly when we open. To my panel, guys, I miss you guys so much, but you're here now. Have a happy holiday and Merry Christmas. Thank you for being here. To my viewers, thank you for tuning in as well, and happy holiday as well. And also ACTN, thanks for giving us the opportunity. Viewers, thanks for letting us into your homes every Monday night. And we do repeat on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock. You can also check us out on our Facebook page. There's a lot of information and things that we're doing. And we do have an email address, fieldofdreamstt@gmail.com. You can drop us a line. And sure.
Yeah, we're ready. 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 We're ready. We're ready. Yeah, we're ready. 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 Look how the sun now raising up, and the crowd now waking up. The atmosphere have vibes, and nothing can break it up. The girl them a wine non-stop. We had the drinks them in a my cup. We gonna party all night, all night. 24 parties we hit in a row. Tonight at the very last show, before we head out on the road. The girl them a release the load. So let me see your hands up, so everybody know, put your hands up, so if you're ready for the road, let your friend them know. We're ready for the road. We're ready for the road. We're ready, yeah, we're ready, we're ready, yeah, we're ready, 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 yeah, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready, we're ready. The girl them a wait all week, to get up on the road like freak. The music full of applause, with thousands of chipped in feet.